Because very, very important, we have to file it from tomorrow.
So in case of Section 8 company, that case also the directors change also the prior approval is required.
Because company itself has given a undertaking in writing with FCA form. कि whenever a change making more than 50% the board member will take prior approval. So whether it's Section 8 or society or trust doesn't matter. So we can move to other issues. Should I take accounting or audit? Accounting.
Audit.
Because audit is very, very important for NGO. Because when we go for NGO assessment, we find a lot of issues. But accounting is also equally important. Unless we know accounting, how we do the audit? So,
Just brushing.
or you raise the issue for audit and accounting, I can go through, or
Just give us an overview.
just I give through the basic things. Basic topic. Now, accounting of NGO. Suppose when we studied CA, there was separate chapter for NGO, no? There was no chapter for NGO. BCom, no chapter for NGO. Okay. And when we started practicing, no material available. So, we are learning through practice. We are taking some issues, we are discussing with our friend, and we are finding this is the best practice. You discuss in a different group, we are thinking that becomes the best practice because there is no standard material available. So this is the limitation for NGO sector accounting. What you are saying, you may be right. What I am saying, I may be right, because there is no standard material available on the different key issues. And institute is saying accounting standard is applicable on the NGO. And basically accounting standard should guide how you account for, but all the issues are for profit sector. None of the issues is relevant for NGO sector. So we need to have a separate accounting standard for NGO, because our issues are different. How can the issues which are identified for the profit sector and which is tuned for a profit sector can be made applicable to a non-profit sector? And that's why when we study accounting standard for NGO accounting, we don't understand how to apply that here. So, and technically also, accounting standard is not applicable to NGO, other than Section 8 companies. So I will deal upon accounting standard first, then I will come upon the institute has first time issued a technical guide on applicability of accounting standard to the NGO in 2006. And that booklet institute has says the NGOs are facing a diversity of accounting practices, reporting practices, a different terminology of accounting. You are saying traveling, he is saying mobility, many different terms for the same thing. So there is no standardization of accounting heads, there is no standardization of reporting framework, and there is no uniform accounting practices. There is no uniform disclosure practices. So the institute has recognized this. But even after recognition of this, they have tried to find out how the existing standard can be applicable to the non-profit sector instead of drafting a new set of standards. So basically, Accounting Standard Board was formed in 1977, and at that time, no much discussion for NGO, very limited scope for NGO. So when Accounting Standard Board mandate was given, they have not included non-profit sector, they have included only profit sector. That means Accounting Standard Board doesn't have a mandate to work for a non-profit sector at that time, because non-profit sector was not relevant at that time. And basically in 1994, the institute says this standard applies to a non-profit sector, first time. Then the issue come up before the institute whether the present accounting standard applies to no profit or not, institute says, yes, it applies. When it was bring to the notice of the insured, but your mandate doesn't include. Your mandate is only for the profit sector, then institute come with another clarification that accounting standard will apply only for those NPOs which have some commercial activity. So like NPO which are carrying on some business-like activity, technically accounting standard applies to only those NGOs, not to all. Because accounting standard doesn't have authority to formulate accounting standard for the NGOs. But the problem comes for Section 8 companies. In 2006, they have adopted an accounting standard of the institute in the company law itself. SMEs and non-SMEs. In the accounting standard of the institute, level 1, level 2, level 3. But in the Companies Act accounting standard, SMEs and non-SMEs. So Companies Act accounting standard applicability depend upon accounting standard rules there. So they have not covered business commercial transactions. So all the companies are covered. So Section 8 is also covered. But institute, if you are not a Section 8 companies, if you are a trust or a society, that means Companies Act accounting standard not applicable to you. You have to look up only for the accounting standard of the institute. Institute says only commercial activity, then only accounting standard applies. So technically accounting standard of the institute applies to society and trust only if they have some sort of commercial activity. This is number 1. Number 2, most of the donor agencies says you have to follow international accounting standard in the grant agreement. Most of the donor agencies says you have to follow international accounting standards. Now I have the privilege of working with the 8 countries, because in none of the 8 countries they have a separate accounting guideline for the NGOs. And like you, like me, I am grasping how to deal upon the situations. So 8 countries, we together formulate some common issues, identified common issues on which accounting standard is necessary, and we return to International Accounting Standard Board. Sir, can you take up the formulation of this accounting standard for the sector? They have confirmed in writing, the letter is also with me. They are saying we have a priority issues much bigger than NPO sector. So we are not going to take up the accounting standards separately for NGO for the time being. So that means internationally also there is no separate accounting standard for NGO. What is available internationally is for London, they have a charity commission like Bombay. So they are giving their guideline. Like in Maharashtra, Bombay Charity Commission is giving the accounting guideline. So like they have a local legislation giving the guidelines. But international accounting standards separately for NGO? No. Again, they are also trying to impose upon those standards built up, created for the profit sector to NGO sector. And we are disregarding the fact that in commercial transaction, exchange is a must. One takes, one gives. In NGO sector, no exchange, only comes. There is no exchange. Manoj, you are saying, ownership concept is not there. In commercial sector, everybody, what you are getting is for own benefit. What we are getting is not for our benefit, but for the benefit of somebody else. So how our accounting standard can be in the same line with the profit sector?
Is it defined? What does commercial activity mean for this purpose?
They are saying even for little commercial activity, purchase and sale, that becomes commercial activity. So if an NGO engages in business-like activity, then accounting standard applies. But why NGO will follow accounting standard? Companies Act accounting standard becomes mandatory in the Companies Act, then the companies are following. Why an NGO registered under Societies Act with no mandate to follow accounting standard, why will they follow institute guideline? They will not follow. Until they have a compulsion to follow through Act. Infrastructure is weak and there is no legal mandate also. So this is regarding one, applicability of accounting standard, very key issue. The second is method of accounting, cash accrual hybrid. Now we know in a company setup, only one set of books and consolidated report is the one. So we are guided by a consolidated framework. But here, our stakeholder are funding agency, FCRA, income tax and then the member. But mainly there are 3 stakeholders, FCRA, income tax and the funding agency. And they want cash basis. If they want cash basis, then how an NGO can keep a mercantile system and then can generate a cash basis accounting? Suppose in a CA firm, if we keep mercantile basis accounting, what we do? We raise a bill, fees account create and party account debited. And when the fees come, then the party account create and bank account debited. From there, you can prepare your cash basis accounting. because the income is created much before than it is received. So if we are following mercantile business accounting, we can't generate cash basis of report. We can't, because the recognition of income is changes. So it is not simple that you can maintain cash basis and can generate, you can maintain accrual basis and you can generate a single payment account. You can't generate a single payment account. So basically then we are advising you follow cash basis accounting throughout the year. At the cut-off date, you switch over to mercantile. You make provision for the liabilities.
So it becomes more or less a hybrid.
Hybrid. A hybrid that to the cut-off date. To the cut-off date, because primarily we have to satisfy the requirement of income tax, FCRA and the donors. So institute is playing with the true and fair, but here true and fair is not important. Here receipt and property utilized is more important. So basic framework is different. And then third most important issue is when we prepare this consolidated report, consolidated financial report. In NGO, basically three types of report: internal report from management, special purpose report 10B, FC6, donor report, and consolidated report is the organization report submitted to the Societies Act and submitted to the prospective donor. Now, what mistake we do? We prepare one consolidated report and we try to figure out the figure for the income tax from there. Income tax says capital expenditure is also an application, but our normal report, capital expenditure is a balance sheet item, which will not come under income expenditure. And when we try to make our special purpose report from the consolidated report, then this confusion arises. If you prepare a separate report for, as Manoj was saying, for 10B, then there is no problem. In 10B report, income and application, we have not given income expenditure, income and application account, then all the application will be there. But 10B report, they are mentioning income expenditure account, they are not saying. So all these technical issues are there. So until unless we have a separate report for a special purpose report or general purpose report, this confusion will always be there. And for general purpose report, only three things I want to mention. We have to prepare the general purpose report on the basis of thematic area.
On the basis of
Thematic area. Thematic area means, suppose your consolidated report is used for the further fundraising. That means you must be able to demonstrate for which area your organization is working. But present form is funding received from funding agency A, B, C and spending in funding agency A, B, C. From that report, it is not possible to know for which purpose organization is spending. A specific purpose report can be funding agency wise, but the consolidated report, for a women empowerment, how much you have received. For health program, how much you have received. For women empowerment, how much you have spent. This thematic area wise classification on the top of the balance sheet, and funding agency should be in the schedule. So our present format of report is on the basis of funds, not on the basis of thematic areas. So the prospective donor is not able to correlate with the activity report. Activity report says you are working for health, you are women empowerment, but your financial report will say funding agency A, B, C. Second most important is bifurcation of funds. We have to liability side, restricted fund, unrestricted fund, designated fund and the capital asset fund. These four we have to separate in the liability side. Most of the NGOs balance sheet, general fund 100, fixed asset 40, cash and bank 60, and that becomes the first set. That means if we see the first balance sheet, it says the NGO has a good financial position. They have 60 lakhs cash and bank balance. Stage 2, when we try to find out what is general fund, we find 50 rupees the restricted fund. Restricted means donors unspent balance. That has to be that is a liability that you have to refund to the donor. There is not your own fund. So we have to bifurcate from general fund to restricted and unrestricted. Again we go in detail, we find this 40 rupees asset is created from the donor fund and we have not created a capital asset fund. So until unless we have a bifurcation of different funds, we are not in a position to know what is the financial position of that particular NGOs. And now what is happening is in the present day funding, most of the NGOs, foreign funding agencies want NGO to contribute 10% or 15% of the as a own contribution. And when they see your first type balance sheet, they will understand you have a lot of funds. And when we give this balance sheet, then they will understand you will have no fund, you can't contribute 10%. So we have to be very particular how we come to budget our balance sheet.
The cash and bank balance you must show actually in a designated account.
Right, then you give us a rule. Then you give us a rule, and then you can calculate which funding agency how much. So these are technically some of the very key areas for, because time is short. Any specific issue on accounting? Just tell me.
Please go back to the previous slide. Yeah.
Actually, we have to identify the fund restricted, unrestricted, designated, and capital asset fund.
So two things I want to ask. The bonus funds which are received from foreign currency, as of 31st March, the bonus balance is to be corrected like we do as per accounting standard. Maybe foreign currency debtors and creditors we on the last day of the year we correct it.
No. We are not maintaining accounts in foreign currency. In India, we are maintaining accounts on the basis of Indian currency. Okay.
But just like we do for debtors and creditors, we book the foreign exchange loss or gain.
No, here, foreign exchange loss arises when you are receiving the foreign fund. Suppose you are making an agreement with the donor at rupees 70 euro. This agreement. Now when the fund comes, you realize 75. That means 5 rupees you have to transfer as a foreign exchange gain and 70 rupees as a grant. And that 5 rupees also remains the project fund. And we have to intimate to the donor how we are going to use this fund.
But
That we have to disclose in the accounts.
That's 7.
Pardon?
That gain and loss we have to book in the accounts.
With the book in the accounts. Otherwise, how do we know how much extra we have received?
If there is no contracted rate, suppose only the foreign donor had said that they will say $1,000, right? And there is no.
But you must have given a budget to them.
Generally, you win with the Indian rupee depreciating. You generally.
Yeah. Normally we have a gain, and some of the foreign agencies are also saying any gain and loss will be NGO account. In that case, we can create unrestricted fund. So first we have to identify this fund, then we have to see our agreement. If the agreement is silent, then we can use this fund as unrestricted.
Second thing is the funding which is for specified purposes. Instead of taking it through the income and expenditure account, we give it directly on the
Balance sheet. But basically, Institute has given two suggested options for this. One is they are saying you make it as schedule to the balance sheet. Restricted fund, opening balance, grant received, spent, and closing balance. And from schedule you are going to know how much you have spent. But this gives a wrong impression to the reader of the report, consolidated report, because they are trying to see the income expense account. So there your activity expense are not reflected. Your activity is saying so much of activity, but income expense account will be very small.
income and expenditure only deals with the organization.
Organization income. So the second practice is the restricted grant to the extent utilized. So out of rupees 10, 7 rupees we have spent, 7 rupees you recognize as income and 7 rupees as expense. There is no profit and gain there. But just for disclosure practice, so that the prospective person can know your income expenditure account tallies with your activity report. Otherwise, you will not able to trace from the balance sheet figure. Okay, balance sheet are not normally contain the expenditure figure. So in that way, restricted grant to the extent utilized should be recognized as income in the income expenditure account. So there is no surplus or deficit to that account. That is matches. So this second is most because in Nepal and Bangladesh, even KPMG price analysis is following this practice. They are recognizing restricted grant as income to the extent utilized.
There is no necessity to correct the foreign currency balance item.
No, because when you are recognizing the asset debtors, suppose you are recognizing on a accrual basis, then only the issue of arises.
The donor's balance is there, no?
No, how much? Unspent balance is what you have received and you have not spent. What you are going to receive is not there. In your accounts, what you have received and then you have not, that is with you. This exchange has already taken place. What you are going to receive is not appearing as a debtors. If that is appearing as a debtors, then exchange gain loss will apply. Any other issue? 15 minutes. Then audit I will take one or two very important. Audit, huh? Or we can continue with the
It's auditing.
Audit.
very important issue, huh? Audit is a systematic, independent examination of financial records to express an opinion for a stated purpose. Definition of audit. It is systematic. Systematic means we have to use auditing standards, we have to train the quality staff, but in practice for the NGOs, they bring all the records to our office, we engage the article clerk, he simply check and certify. So we are not following systematic in real practice. Independent. Independent means the person managing should not influence the appointment of auditor, but in NGO, the person who are governing control, they are appointing the auditors. Like Companies Act, there are no disqualification. Anybody can be appointed as an auditor. Again, you work with the NGO, NGO will say, you prepare your own balance sheet. We don't have a staff to prepare the balance sheet. So we have to prepare our own balance sheet and we have to sign. So there is no independence here, in real terms. To express an opinion for a stated purpose. For a stated purpose means, in a Companies Act, we have a format, CARO, everything. Societies Act, no, they are saying you have to get your accounts audited. Trust says you have to get your accounts audited. How much, how far, what disclosure, nothing. And we are not giving auditor at TOR. So what the auditor does, we have checked the attached balance sheet and found an agreement there too, one liner. Audit is done. So general expectation is, when audit is done, everything is, accounts is free from flows. Auditor is free, he is only one liner certification. But general public, huge gap. What is the expect and what auditor has performed. Even the audit report, in most of the cases, not conforming to the auditing standard, accounting auditing standards, 700. But a project specific audit, they have a specific format. Every auditor has to follow. And most of the audit report doesn't conform to that, even the reporting doesn't conform to the report, the standards. So this is a situation in which we have to work. So don't try to get the audit of an NGO if it is not remunerative. If it is, you want to do it voluntarily, give your quality time and then say voluntarily. Otherwise, what is happening, if we, same funding agency appoints another person as to recheck, and when he comes out with all the issues, then the donor says, how the other chartered accountants can do. But I know that chartered accountant is also equally competent, but he has not given his quality time. And then they are writing to the institute. I know more than 100 cases in the institute for this NGO audit. So don't try to get NGO audit unless you are giving a specific quality time. This is the first thing. Secondly, here opportunities of account audit is enormous. One box, subject to incorporation audit, subject to donor audit, subject to internal audit, FC6, income tax. Accounts are one, but always audit under different act. So here the scope of audit is enormous. They are not paying is a different issue, but they have enormous audit opportunities. We have to create that. We have to create that. Only 3 or 4 special audit technique. Normally what we do, we check the trial balance with the report. First thing we do. Second what we do, we check the watching with the primary books of account. Normally what we do. And we say, we verify the expenditure with the supporting document, with the mode of payment and with the authorization process. If the mode of payment is by check, thus we are confirmed and we approve. In one of my case, 1, 2, even 3 quotations obtained. Out of 3, 1 quotation passed, and on that basis the purchase was made. 1, 2, 3 was all right. Most of the payment by account pay check, quotations were there, authorization process was followed, and out of 10 crore, 8 crore was misreporting. 8 crore was misreporting in one of our cases, even after these 3. So these 3 are the basic fundamental work we are doing. We are not doing more than this. We are checking books of account agreement, we are checking with the supporting document, authorization process, mode of payment, and we are seeing quotations. What we are not seeing in the NGO is very, very important. How much you are paying and how much quantity you have received, whether they are maintaining stock register or not. You are paying for 100 pieces of blanket and they have not received any single piece of blanket, even after all the quotations. So you must try to know whether all the quantity for which payment has been made has been actually received by the NGO or not. A further step. Second, Here in NGO, utilization is important, not you have purchased medicines and you have not given to the beneficiaries. Is it utilization? No, it is only payment. So we find they have purchased blankets, they have purchased medicines and they have not given to the beneficiaries. This is not utilization. In the government accounting, when they ask for the report, they will asking from you the license certificate. Remind it, there is a difference between license certificate and the audited statement of account. Utilization means you have to also see the utilization. How the medicine distributed to the beneficiaries, how the blanket has been distributed to the beneficiaries. This distribution record is a must to verify. Now, even if the
Otherwise it will be reported.
no, yeah, we have to report it. We can't check utilization. Purchase is not utilization. We can purchase medicines after all the quotations that is lying in our stock, or it is given to the beneficiaries they are not intended to. Then it is utilization. So you must see also the record who are the beneficiaries, whether they are eligible beneficiaries or not.
How to find out that?
In one of our case, NGO was supposed to conduct one meeting every month. 12 meeting expenses were there. What they have done in month of December, all the 12 meetings they have conducted. Expense is as per the budget. Whether you allow it? No. So it is not only expenditure. We have to link with the program. We have to link with the beneficiaries. We have to see the utilization.
But sir, suppose the medicines are supposed to go to the poor, it's not possible for me to go at the year end to find out whether that actually poors have received it or not.
No, no.
They can get it, you know,
Yeah,
from instruction of many people.
Your issue lying with how to select the beneficiaries. But when a donor agency agrees, the beneficiaries are already selected. So whether your benefit has given to that identified selected beneficiaries or not, there is the question.
Suppose somebody goes, I mean, there are many programs going on, like they go to the rural area to distribute the medicines. How will we?
We must have a distribution record. We are revising like books of account. We have a double entry system, cash book, bank book. But this distribution record, we must have a distribution record with the name of the beneficiaries, date of distribution, item of the medicines distributed, and sign of the beneficiaries, and authenticated by some panchayat member or some local member, independent person. So that distribution record must be there.
It happens in the rural area, most of them.
Even the rural areas,
Thumb impression.
the thumb impression you can see.
But sir, the thumb impression, when there's some actual people.
Now basically we have to generate information which is verifiable. We can't generate more than that. We must have the name, we must have the village name, we must have their thumb impression, they must confirm they have received this quantity, and that must be authenticated by a person, independent person. So until unless we go up to that, NGO it is not possible.
Otherwise, we will not be able to save our skin.
Yeah.
One practical problem faced here, always, the address of the auditor, to whom to give the audit.
It will depend upon which report you are talking about. It is a special purpose report or general purpose report.
It's a donor report.
Then to the donor? Or who will appointed you, donor or NGO? Then to the NGO? There are 2 or 3 situations like this. In some cases, the donor agency asked the NGO to have a separate report for them. In that case, NGO appoints you, you have to report to the NGO. Not to the donor. In some cases, tripartite agreement takes place. Donor, NGO and yourself. Then you report to both. It depends upon what you are. So these are some of the brief and key issues for the NGO audit. I think we can conclude now here. Yeah.
Now tell me one thing, one organization, they are running one this clinic. They are distributing, doctors are there, they are issuing prescriptions, they are distributing medicines, everything. Once I relate there as a patient, हमारा ये है चेक करके बताओ, चेक करती है फिर उसके बाद दवाई भी दी है, तो इससे क्या हो सकता है? ये तो उसको सर्वे कैसे करेंगे? मान लीजिए कोई बीमार है, उसका ट्रीटमेंट चल रहा है, ट्रीटमेंट इज देयर on roughly 100 to 200 patients daily. they are, now the issuance of medicines and all, how this can be certified?
देखिए ये है डॉक्टर, डॉक्टर है वहाँ पर,
Yes.
प्रेस्क्रिप्शन बन रहा है,
हाँ, बन रहा है।
दैट मीन्स डॉक्टर सर्टिफाई कर रहा है कि ये आदमी ट्रीटमेंट करने के लिए आया था, ये जो प्रेस्क्रिप्शन, प्रेस्क्रिप्शन में मेडिसिन में लिखा हुआ है,
हाँ, होता है।
ठीक है, दैट मीन्स मेडिसिन का एक इंडेंट हो गया, जैसे आप हॉस्पिटल्स की बात करें तो मेडिसिन का इंडेंट इशू हो गया एंड डॉक्टर का रिक्वेशन हो गया, ठीक है। अब द ओनली इशू इज वेदर दैट मेडिसिन वाज रियली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड टू द बेनिफिशियरी नॉट, उसके लिए आपको मस्टर बना करके उसका साइन लेना ही पड़ेगा, जिस बेनिफिशियरी का नाम है मस्टर प्रेस्क्रिप्शन जिसके नाम से है उसके नाम का आइदर उसका स्टॉक रजिस्टर इशू में साइन करा लीजिए,
तो प्रिस्क्रिप्शन है ना, उसके बाद पूरा रजिस्टर भी मेंटेन
हाँ रजिस्टर में साइन कराना पड़ेगा जो पर्सन शुड लग रहा है,
ये तो देखो।
ये जरूरी है। कारण कि एक्चुअली एनजीओ अच्छे हैं लेकिन बहुत सी एनजीओ सिस्टम डिफॉल्ट का फायदा देती है।
ये लोग जो हम लोग देख रहे हैं कई साल से हम देख रहे हैं कि ये लोग बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम गाँव में जाते हैं।
देखिए जो एनजीओ अच्छी होगी उनका डॉक्यूमेंटेशन भी होगा, ठीक है, और जो एनजीओ थोड़ी सी गलत होगी तो उसका एनजीओ बहुत खराब नहीं नहीं
Everything is being video recorded, so
या
तो editing करवा लीजिएगा।
तो दिस फर्स्ट टाइम क्या
I understand it fully, very good. करना होगा।
No, you are right. There are some manipulators who manage the account very well.
Not very well. I was. This is a very stray case. I was sitting in a hotel. Two gentlemen came, talked to me. They wanted me to do. Within 3 days, they wanted me to do an audit of about 30 areas. So they had everything organized. So I just did a test check. I said, well, this program of eye operation and all that you have done, when was it done? They admitted it was not done at all. They brought out diary. Even the doctor concerned, there were 3 doctors. Even the doctor concerned, they checked up. They were correlated it with the doctor's this thing, telephone record. There so many operations have been done and now you better keep a record of this. We are sending you the names of the patients involved. Everything is meticulously done. So after all that, I said, you give me an appointment, then only I'll sign. So they said, well, we can give you this, but it just struck me. Are you an FCA, sir? I said, well, what do you mean by FCA? He said, FCA means foreign chartered accountant. He said, foreign chartered. I said, no, I am not. So thank you, I am not doing it. So that was my escape out. वो बहाना बना के मैं निकल आया। But this is how things are.
This is a collusive like Sattam had done. Sattam judgment has come recently. You see, collusive manipulation is there in corporate world, NGO world, everywhere. Only thing is that how to save our skin is something very important.
But